Our commentator today is Dr. Israelowich from the Tel Aviv University Faculty of Humanities, where he teaches Roman law and medicine in the Greek and Roman era. His book was published about 2 years ago about society, medicine, and religion in the secretaries of Ilias Aristides. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity to comment, and thank you very much for the organizers for the invitation. Of course, as a classicist, I've never seen so many rooms and so many people in one room. So please excuse my excitement. So when I was asked to comment,
You brought your Cicero.
Yes, I brought Cicero as the latest addition to the research, which is what I was teaching this term, and I was looking into, as someone who takes interest in Roman law, I was looking into the notion of Usus Fructus in the Roman law and the motives behind it, and it's part of an ongoing research of mine about the rise of the jurist in the Roman world, from people who were motivated to act as ex officio out of moral duty into people who were becoming professionals, like the apparitores, who were basically doing it in order to get paid. And the notion of usus fructus in Roman law, of course, it only takes meaning within the context of law, and like so many things in Roman law, it has nothing to do with ethics. The Romans didn't think that way. In fact, when we look into Cicero and other Roman legal theorists, we see that property is essential for public order. The inclination of the Roman legislator to guarantee property, or usufructus, or possessions, which are three different categories, is part of an ongoing motivation to maintain social order. And we see it mainly in the evolution of two major notions of the curator and the tutor. In Roman law, if I were a pater familias, I had the sole authority over the possession of the entire family. I could do whatever I wanted with this possession, but there were 4 cases under which this power was taken away from me. If I was a child, if I were a woman, if I were a mad person, furiosus, or if I was a prodigus, which is someone who spends more than he should. In these 4 categories, either a curator or a tutor would have been appointed to make sure that I wouldn't make mistakes. But the Roman law. I think you were mainly your interest is into justice, and Roman legislators, they didn't think about that at all. It wasn't their interest. And if we see the shift about how to treat mainly madmen and compulsive spenders, we see that at the beginning the authority to appoint a tutor was left to the family. Later it was taken from the family and was given to the state institutions. But the main motives were to make sure that the family would be able to hold on to its property one generation after the other, without which there will be a social chaos. So usufructus, which is basically the right to enjoy the fruits of property, but without being owners of this property, was a category of Roman law. One could give it to someone without. We see it a lot in wills. But I really think that the Romans didn't think in this way, and I was very interested by the way you looked into it, and you saw the evolution of these notions into later history, or what in the classics department we call current events. So it's after 476 onwards, and this to me is all new and very interesting. But I think that the Roman lawyers, they were mainly driven, especially when people like Cicero were writing, and when they were thinking of officium. And Cicero here writes in his book about the offices on duties, he writes about property, how this is an unnatural thing, how there are no things which are naturally the property of someone. There are only this is book 1, chapter 21st. I'm not going to read the Latin, it's just going to be tedious. But it's either you arrive somewhere which is a terra nullius. It could be won by victory, in war, by agreement, or by luck. But this, he leaves this discussion altogether when he moves to talk about the duties. But for him, it is obvious that his duty as a lawyer is not to maintain justice or equality, but to maintain social order, which is something completely different. He would have hated equality. He would have thought that equality is what Uri's people would have called licentia, which is a horrible anarchy. The Romans didn't think that way. Social order meant that there are people who are meant to govern, there are people who are meant to be governed, and this is fine. That's how things should be. Yes, I was very much taken by this. It was very interesting to me. I'm sorry I can't comment on the ethical part, but this is not what we don't do that at the classical. No. So thank you very much, and thank you for the organizers.